Good day to you all. Well, John, we're getting together here on Christmas Eve, and we want to just share a special message to everybody. We're not going to do chapter 5 of the book because right now, this week that's coming up, I think is really the way you set the tenor for the first 3, if not the first 6 months of 2023, is really going to be some things that you do in these last few days of 2022, John.
Well, Keith, I agree. I mean, I'm getting ready. I'm doing some things. I've got a new guy in the business I'm working with. It's got some business around Texas here. Um, January 7th, 2 weeks from today. I mean, I know it's Christmas Eve, and I know this time next week's New Year's Eve, and I got a son turning 19 next week, and other things going on. But the world doesn't stop because the calendar says a certain date. And I love Christmas. I've loved Christmas since I'm a little kid. Still love Christmas, even though my kids unfortunately are grown. Don't have any grandkids yet, Keith, like you do. But even yours are getting a little old. But having said that, enjoy Christmas. Merry Christmas, first of all. We've all been through a lot this year. I know I've lost too many people close to me that unfortunately aren't here anymore, passed away. So it's been a sad year. It's been a tough year. It's been a tough year economically in a lot of cases. It's been a tough year, honestly, for our business. It's been a tough year all the way around. So enjoy Christmas because this is what it's intended for, certainly. But get ready. I go back to some of the training I did early on in my career with Larry Thompson, and Larry used to talk so much about farmers. And gee, Keith, I guess you might be able to relate to this. The farmer doesn't take a break because it's Christmas. The cows, the pigs, the whatever, they need to still eat. They still need to be taken care of, right? The farmer doesn't go on vacation during harvest season. Well, it is harvest season. Now you say to yourself, why is it harvest season, John? Well, here's how I see it. We're going into a year with a lot of unsettling news financially. Around the world, news isn't good financially. Okay. What does that mean? It means people are looking for plan B. They're looking at the gig economy. They're looking at what else can I do? If you're my age group or Keith's age group even, you might be saying to yourself, what am I going to do to make sure that I keep up with inflation? Because let's just face it. I went in Whole Foods here yesterday. I picked up lemons, apples, cucumbers, strawberries. Hey, and I snuck a slice of vegetarian pizza. $24. You've got to be kidding. None of that was a meal for me or for my family. Okay. This is just stuff that I picked up because I was there. $24. We know what gas is costing now. Fortunately, the price is down a little bit from where it was, but who knows what's going to happen there, right? So, look, we don't need to tell you about inflation. Here's what we do need to tell you. What $1,000 bought 12 months ago, probably $1,500 now is about the same amount you need to pay for it. Utility bills are up, et cetera, et cetera. So you say, how in the world is it harvest time? Well, because your neighbor, your friend, the guy at the gym, the guy in the church pew next to you on Christmas Eve service tonight, they're all going through the same stuff. And they're looking for, what am I going to do about it? So in setting up first this week coming up, get your list together. Get your list together. Who are you going to talk to that maybe you haven't talked to in the past? On the Leaving Nothing to Chance podcast, and I'm going to tell you, that is good news. Leaving Nothing to Chance has taken on a life of its own. We are interviewing some of the top people in network marketing around the world. And they're coming to us now, which is great. In the beginning, I was begging for interviews. Now I've got to tell people, well, I can get you on in March, which is great. But in interviewing so many luminaries, I mean luminaries, guys who really know and women who really know what's going on in the world, and they also know what's going on in network marketing, I can tell you, we all feel the same way. Like the best of network marketing is ahead, not behind. And all of those reasons, the economy is working to our advantage. I go back, I was talking to Larry Thompson the other day, actually, to lunch with him. And he said, I see the business right now like when you got in 1983, John. I was coming out of college. We were coming out of the disaster of Jimmy Carter. And Ronald Reagan had become president, but he still was in the process of turning around the economy with the things that he was doing. And in April 1983, I tell you, the economy was not good. So how did a college kid go out and make $800 his first month, having no clue what I was doing outside of talking to some people? Because the economy wasn't very good. People were looking for opportunities. Where are we fast forward 2023, some 40 years later? Well, a lot of stuff's gone on in the world. COVID, the Ukraine-Russia war, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of these things are mitigating factors as to why the economy is what it is. Okay, leaving politics aside and my personal feelings about the disaster of the Biden administration economically, because it's been a disaster since the day the guy walked in office, in my opinion. But that's my opinion. You might have a difference of opinion, but facts are facts. You know what you're paying for stuff, okay? For whatever reason, why you're paying that blame what you want. But here is reality, okay? It's not going to get any better on that end. What can get better is you going out and growing your business. What can get better is you getting your list together this week and talking to those people. What can get better is that you go up to our Blue Zones / Immunizone new group site on Facebook and join it and start participating in it. Start posting your workout videos. Start posting your, whether it's walking a dog around the block or you're running a marathon, whatever you're doing, post it. Let everybody know. And also on there, thanks to Keith, we've got a great presentation talking about what's going to happen 2 short weeks from now, January 7th. Okay, the first Blue Zone / Immunizone meeting of 2023. We're going to have people on there like John Molson. We're going to have our new Chief Commercial Officer, Mr. Raj Chopra, on there. Okay, we're going to have Dr. Salini on there. We're going to have Wally Foster, Patricia Karalash, Keith. I know I'm forgetting a few people. Tom Oldershaw,
Dr. White,
Dr. White,
Tom Oldershaw.
Yeah. So we've got an event coming up. Okay. Now you can sleep in the next 2 weeks and you can wake up around January 9th and you can miss the event. Maybe you'll tune into it yourself. Or you can say, let me take the 10 penny principle. Let me talk to 10 new people, maybe not a day right now. But what if you talk to 10 new people between now and January 7th and you get 3 of them to that event and they see and they hear about what we're up to. And they say, you know what? I'm in that situation. I'm scared to death economically about what's going on in my life, and I need to do something in 2023. Now, what if they're not an old fogey like Keith Hooper or John Solider? What if they're a young fogey like my 18-year-old son, okay, who's building a business with us, who's saying, Dad, I just don't know by the time I'm done with college what's going to be out there waiting for me. So he's taking the responsibility to learn our business right now. Okay. So you got 18-year-olds that'll be on there and you got 80-year-olds that are going to be on there. And we all have our reasons economically why we're looking for that plan B to grow in 2023. So how you prepare. Now, here's one other thing. Here's one other secret, and hear me well. Get your last minute tax deductions this week. Fill up all the cars with gasoline, for example. Tax deductible, right, to some degree, depending on where you live, right? Anything you need for your business, your computer, your cell phone, anything that you're going to need going forward to grow your business in 2023, buy it this week. Take that last minute tax deduction, okay? That's a whole nother thing that we who are self-employed need to do those things. And we need to teach those things to other people when they get into business who don't recognize that this is a business. They think that the guy who owns the corner store has a business, and of course he does. But they don't recognize that they have the same tax advantages that he or she that owns that bricks and mortar business does. So say to people, hey, look, I'm taking my last minute tax deductions. You go up to pay for your gas, for example. Tell the cashier, hey, I'm paying for my last minute tax deduction. They'll probably get a chuckle out of it. What's it going to do? Start a conversation, maybe with them, maybe with somebody online behind you. You don't know. But be prepared and have your ear to the ground, because 2023, while it may be at a macro level economically difficult, it does not need to be difficult for you if you get to work with the idea that 2023 is going to be a banner year. It's going to be a difference maker in your life and your career. Okay. That's the way I'm looking at it. Hooper?
Well, John, you made a comment about the farmers. Okay. And I happen to know a little bit about that. Okay. And one of the things that we're talking about this week, okay, so you're listening to this on Sunday or Monday, after on Christmas Day or the following day, whatever, it's called you prepare not just the ground, but you prepare the equipment. Okay. There's a raging snowstorms and cold weather across the Midwest right now. Okay. Airliners are being grounded. I can tell you right now, there's farmers in their shops this week, the week between Christmas and New Year's. They're bringing the equipment in. They got the heaters running. They're preparing the equipment so that when they come back out and the spring comes, that they're ready to go. Well, what has that got to do with Immunotech? Well, when I joined and John joined and Sandy joined and Jim Spencer joined and all the people 25 years ago, there weren't a lot of tools. It didn't take long to get the tools ready. Okay, refresh those tools because there wasn't much. But today, what do you know about the app? What do you know about it? Okay, well, have you gone and looked at it? Do you have it on your phone? Have you looked at the stuff that's actually there? Have you taken the time to actually look at it? Now, with that, this week, between Christmas and New Year's, good time to get familiarized with that. Have you been over to XYZ Tools? Are you looking at the stuff that's there? Have you been to the Facebook, Blue Zone / Immunozone? Okay, 3 words, Blue Zone, 2 words, Immunozone, 1 word. Have you been there? Have you got that in place? Go through those tools, because what happens to all of us is like anything else. I don't care whether you're a chef and you've got a gourmet kitchen. You have, knives and pans and equipment and whatever you don't use very often. You may not even remember you have it. Okay. Same thing with the farmer. Okay. We got tools. We don't use them. We don't use that equipment all the time. Okay. But you have to know that you have it. You have to know that it's there. And what happens with Immunotech is we've got a lot of tools. We've got a lot of stuff that's there, but people have either don't know it exists, okay, or haven't used it in a long time, so it's not in their consciousness. This is a good week to go back and look at that. I mean, John, on the XYZ Tools, the Dr. Lensman video, okay, on the brain health. I know you've used that 3 times in the last 5 or 6 days, or the last 2 weeks with some people. We've got the stuff. I mean, Corellis with healthy aging. My goodness. Okay. So you've got some tools that are here so that you don't have to do it all by yourself. This is not climbing a skyscraper with your bare hands, folks. There are some tools here. Okay. Some of them are old and trustworthy. They've been here a long time. People don't think about them. Okay. Some of them is new and people don't even know they're there. So take this week between Christmas and New Year's and, look at your tools. Okay. Get them ready so that when you hit the ground running in January and you start talking to people, if you're taking this week off and not doing a lot, whatever, it's a good time, John, to just refamiliarize ourselves with all the tools. Get over to Leaving Nothing to Chance on the podcast. Okay, listen to a couple of those in the background while you're doing some other stuff. Get your material, get yourself ready to be in business. Get yourself ready to have that grand opening of Hello 2023. We're open and ready to go. Get ready for that.
Well, and along those lines, guys, okay, and shameless plug for our books, Leaving Nothing to Chance, Leave Nothing to Chance, and Moving Up 2020, right? And you probably have these books if you're listening to this because you work with Keith and I on a regular basis. But have you read them lately? Okay, if you forgot about the 10 penny principle, just as one example, go back to it. Okay, go back and refamiliarize yourself with what we said about it as one example. Daily method of operation. Go back to it, okay, and refamiliarize yourself with what daily method of operation is. Why? Not because I'm telling you to, not because we wrote the books, okay, but because these are evidence-based facts about building a network marketing business. And look, I've got the experience now of almost 2 years of interviewing every luminary out there. What do they talk about? 10 penny principle. They talk about daily method of operation. They talk about consistency. They talk about all the things that we talk about in these books. So take advantage of that. If you haven't read them in a long time, pick them back up and read them. Okay. If you've got additional books on the industry, go back and read them this week. Get yourself mentally ready to go do what you gotta do. Couple other things. January 7th, we mentioned it already. 2 short weeks from today, we will be on the air doing the show. How many people are you going to have there? Better yet, how many people aren't you going to have there that when that show ends, you're going to kick yourself and say, well, if Joe had been here or Mary had been here, wow, they would have been in the business. They would have been excited. I've done that. You've done that, Keith. And you guys know what I'm talking about listening to this. Don't be that guy or gal. Be the person who goes, I'm going to have my farm team. The farm team is the team that you are developing to become leaders in your downline. Okay. Who are those people right now that you really want on that call? Don't wait until January 6th and say, well, let me give them a call at 8 o'clock at night on Friday night and see what they're doing Saturday afternoon. Too late. Be talking to them now. Okay. Take your upline along with you. Get some help from your upline. Put some of your uplines. Some of your uplines talk to me, by the way. They never hear from you. Somebody said at a meeting in Montreal to another colleague of mine, they were complaining about the fact that I didn't call them for sponsoring a person. Guys, that's not my job. My job is that person you sponsored, you should be having a call with me to introduce me to them. Okay. We've got over 1 million people in the downline around the world. I can't call every person and say, good job. I'm going to tell you good job, certainly, when you call and say, I want you to get to know Bob or Mary or Sue or Pete or George or whoever. Reach out to me. Reach out to Keith. Reach out to Wally. Reach out to Foster. Reach out to Doug. Reach out to Patricia. Reach out to whoever it is that's your upline that you want to talk to that person and introduce them. Okay? So we always look up. All right, if I said to Keith, okay, Keith, every person that knew in my downline, I want you to call this month. He'd have no time to do anything else that I need him to do or that he needs to do for his business. Okay. So let's get the business right. The business is reaching out to your upline and saying, hey, I got a new guy here. Okay. Keith met my new guy the other day. Okay. Why? We had a call. Okay. Why? Because I wanted him to meet my new guy. Okay. So he knows who Keith is. Why? Because when I talked about the Corellis study about resistance training, it resonated with him personally. And when I talked about what Dr. Linsman had put together, it resonated with him because he had a son who, unfortunately, had been heavily concussed as a high school football player. Okay. Oh, XYZ Tools. Well, that's this guy, Keith Hooper. He's my upline. Well, let me introduce you to him. Got him on the phone, right? They talked for 10 minutes. Okay. Right? Guy once again goes, okay, now I know I got John to help me. I got Keith to help me. I got this call January 7th. Okay. Let's talk about the podcast for a minute, even though it's generic. January 10th, we got a new show coming up. 2 great ladies I interviewed. Okay. On January 10th, got another one January 24th. It's going to be every other Tuesday starting January 10th. I was going to let this thing go. And I had so many people that started to call me over the last 6 months and say, can I be on your show? And it was like, wow. And some of these people are great. You're going to love some of the people we have coming up. We got, January 10th, we've got Karen Ford and Elaine. I'm going to torture her last name, Linus, Elaine Linus. Two great ladies I interviewed. They know the business. They've both been in well over 40 years. They know what they're talking about. You're going to want to listen to them. January 24th, okay, Jordan Matthews, who's an attorney. His mother was my dear friend Arlene Lowy, who unfortunately passed away this year. Arlene's an icon in the industry, one of the top earners at her company. But Jordan knows our business and how it applies from what he does. He's got a new book coming out, how it applies. February, that first Tuesday in February, I forget the date. I think it's the 5th or 7th or something. Simon Chan, guy worked for the National Basketball Association coming out of Columbia University when he was young. And had a girlfriend introduce him to Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, read the book, changed his life, pivoted from the dream job I would certainly love, right? Being around pro athletes all day, getting interviewed him. He pivoted into network marketing, built a huge organization with one company. After that, decided he wanted to spend his time training and coaching and helping others develop generically. So he's our guest then. Okay, and then we've got another great guest coming up the end of February. I'm not going to tell you his story right now. We'll say that for a future call, but I'm interviewing him this week. And then, March, we're going to have Ron Forrester and Leslie Hocker on, 2 of the top earners in the industry, long-term friends of mine. So we got a real good bevy of people coming up that have something that can help you with your business. So don't forget about the show and promoting it to your group. And look, we got a couple conventions coming up, right? March, Mexico City, April, right here in beautiful Fort Worth. If you've never been to Fort Worth, I got to tell you, I'm a Dallas guy nowadays, but Fort Worth is a real fun city, a lot of history, some of the best museums in the country, frankly. So if you haven't bought your tickets yet for both or either event that you're going to attend, I suggest that you do that as well. Get that on your list. Okay. So these are the type of things you should be doing here, between Monday and New Year's Eve. Knock them out, check them off your list, and let's move into January aggressively. And that's why we've have this first call scheduled for that first Saturday. We could have done it any Saturday, frankly. We want to get everybody back to work. Why? Because frankly, folks, I think we're going to need to do so individually, collectively, and everybody on the planet that wants to do something to take care of their families in the right way. I think we got to stay busy, and we got to get busy as fast as we can. So happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Boxing Day. Keith, we'll probably do one of these before New Year's, I imagine. But if we don't talk to you, Happy New Year, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy birthday if it's your birthday this week. Most importantly, Happy 2023. Let's be
Happy
safe
Hanukkah.
and productive. Happy Hanukkah. How can I forget Hanukkah? Wow. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, I probably missed one or two things there, but anyway, you guys get ready.
I want to just inject just briefly. Okay, so what you just heard of all the stuff that's coming up on Leaving Nothing to Chance, coming up on the January 7th. These are all events. These are all events. And my mentor in the business was a gentleman by the name of Bob Schmidt. And I've spoken about Bob over the decades. But Bob said if you only had one skill that you could use to build your network marketing business, the one skill that you needed to master was the skill of the invitation. Inviting. He said, if you didn't know anything else, he said, you don't need to know comp plan. You don't need to know product. You don't need to know, speaking skills. You don't need to know any of this other stuff. All you need to do is learn how to invite people to events. He goes, if you learn to invite, okay, it will overcome all the other issues. The comp plans don't matter, okay, if you know how to invite. So the invitation. So once again, January 7th, that's where you want to start with. As you look at these podcasts, you're talking to somebody, you invite them to listen. You send them the link. If go to the Facebook page, Blue Zone, 2 words, /Immunozone, 1 word, and I put up a little short invitation for January the 7th. It's right there. You can share it right off the page. Okay, but it's that art of the invitation. It's just like tonight on Christmas Eve. You're invited to share some thoughts about the most important moment in human history that we're celebrating. Not that it occurred today, okay, but you're celebrating it. Okay, it's that invitation. It's the invitation to finding out, and that's what we want everybody to do is have a Merry Christmas. We want them to learn that art of invitation. We want them to familiarize themselves with some of the things that they can use that maybe they weren't aware of at all, or they were kind of like me and forgot about some of these things. So. Merry Christmas to everyone. Final thoughts, John, and then we'll go.
Well, just listen. Have a great Christmas, and most importantly, when it's over, January 26th, let's get to work for a few days, and then New Year's Eve, we shut it down again for a couple of days, but let's not shut it down mentally because 2023 coming rapidly. 2 weeks from today, I can't wait for that first call, Keith. We're going to have so much fun. And you're going to learn some new concepts and some new ideas, some new strategies, some new things on how to be the CEO of your own health. So anyway, don't not only don't miss it, but please promote it. Get it out there. Use it. Okay. Don't be that guy, like I said, or that gal after the call. And they're like, well, if so-and-so had been on here, well, get so-and-so on there. Make sure, call them an hour before the call and remind them about it. Okay. Hey, just want to remind you, you have that call today, do your homework. And you know what? You don't have to go get 50 people. Go get 2 or 3 that are difference makers, influencers. Okay. Call them what you want to call them. Go get those people. Okay. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to 2023, Keith.
Merry Christmas, everyone.